How is everyone today? I'm ALICIA GARDNER from Sabre, and I am so happy and so pleased to be moderating this panel today with our expert team on account management and talking about why account management is important or whether we should automate a lot of functions that account management does today. So my esteemed colleagues here are Daniel Signard from Shep. He's the CEO and founder, and that is a FCM browser extension. And Joe Lloyd, who heads up our consulting and account management team, and Scott Reddy, who heads up our account management team in Asia. So really happy to be here with you all.
Thank you.
So let's get into it, shall we?
Sounds good.
do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Scott, I'm going to throw this one to you. What is account management, and why do you think it's still relevant today?
Good question. So I think just to start with a simple answer, I think at the end of the day, it's really our job to understand the business needs, what problems there are to solve, and actually getting deep into the ecosystem and finding solutions for that. So I know this is about technology and automation and stuff like that, and sometimes the solutions can be tech-based, sometimes they can be people-based, sometimes they can be a blend. But at the end of the day, that's what they're here for. In simple terms, there's a lot of, I guess, kind of basic account management hygiene things like reporting, reviews, QBRs and all that sort of stuff, issue resolution, business planning. But I think fundamentally, it's really about understanding our customers.
Joe, what do you think?
I agree with Scott.
Thanks.
Obviously.
For the 4 team.
But I think essentially, for me, account management is all of those things, but in that sort of one-liner elevator pitch, it's around helping our customers optimize their programs. So our job is to help the customer drive their program, give them the tools that they need to be able to do that effectively, and to really make their program shine within their organization. That's what we do.
Cool, excellent. So Daniel, on the against camp, why do certain industries not offer account management anymore? Who in the tech space doesn't offer account management?
I think it's just become one of these things that is assumed to be needed. And if you look at different industries from retail and e-commerce, where you can place an order, pay, track, all these things can be done without a human touch getting involved, and you're getting real-time updates. There's no waiting for someone to respond to an email or pick up a phone. And then in the tech space, there's been a very big transition towards sort of subscriptions. We're all paying subscriptions monthly or annually for all these things, and that self-service model with subscriptions and everything means that if the service I'm paying for is not providing value today, then I'm gone tomorrow. And so it gives the customer so much more control. They can see what they have. They can see their Netflix queue. There's something they don't like in there, they can switch over and go to Disney Plus, and they know that they've got that control and freedom without having someone sort of as a bottleneck there. So I think that there's this move towards the subscriptions, and self-service has sort of really accelerated the move away from account management in a lot of spaces.
Yeah, so you've kind of talked a little bit about the benefits already, but what else about why account management should be automated?
I mean, there's so many things in that space that we assume are needed, and we historically have used humans to do it. But I think you need to look at, are we solving for the customer need, and what's the right way to do that, the best way to do that? I mean, Joe said that, so we're not on the absolute opposing sides here. But I think that there's the timeliness of the information is so key, and the challenge today is not getting information. It's actually filtering out information. There's so much out there, and everyone has access to all of it all the time. And if we're relying on one person to aggregate, understand, find meaning, and deliver that in a timely fashion to someone when it's time critical, you're probably going to fall short. And so there's sort of an analogy I like about like Wikipedia and the encyclopedia. The encyclopedia was, let's pretend it was 100% correct on day one, and the next day it was outdated. Whereas Wikipedia is mostly right most of the time, but it's updated all the time. And so you sort of have to look at that. They're both providing the same service, but it's really trying to understand, what am I trying to get out of this, and what's more important.
Yeah, so kind of a follow-on to that. So, Joe, in this world today of data and self-service, where do we think that people still add value?
So, I just want to say, I agree with most of what you just said, and not every customer needs strategic support. So, within account management, we define our value, because this ultimately always comes down to value, and we define our value by being a support for the strategic success of a customer program. If that program isn't strategic, then I agree, there's very little value that comes from account management. If what they want is reporting and data and accessibility and visibility, they can get that without an account management. If they need somebody to interpret that and make it relevant to their program or where they want to go and identify opportunity, that's when you need an account manager. Sorry, Scott.
No, if I can build on that as well, I think there was a bit of a lesson we learned through COVID as well. We went through a situation which decimated the industry. Everyone sitting here knows about that. And we went through a process of having to, essentially find revenue, and account management was something that we had to look at pretty intensely and go through, to say, this is a service that if you value, you need to pay for it. And if I was going to use a general metric of adoption, like we do have 100% adoption of account management, we don't have 100% adoption of technology. But going back to what Joe was talking about, it's about choice at the end of the day. Yeah. And we do use automation to a certain extent in a certain level of account management for that strategic fit. But if it's a big customer, it's not the right fit. That's where you have a assigned account manager. So, yeah.
So what does that look like 5 years from now? And what are your customers saying about where they value account management?
5 years from now, it's a good question. I mean, I'd like to think that we do use a lot more automation. I do believe in the philosophy of you automate where you don't add value, but there's still plenty where we add value. If everything worked end to end, then there'd be less human interaction for sure. But I started 13 years ago. From then to now, we're still not riding hoverboards. If that makes sense, where we are in 5 years, it depends on human openness to adoption. And I think that's another big part of account management is change management, taking people on a journey, engaging with stakeholders. I don't think that's going to go away in the next couple of years. I think there'll still be a need for that, but we do want to try and take them on a journey to a more automated place where it makes sense. If there's a strategic need, you've got to bring consulting in to solve deep problems, then that's probably going to need subject matter expertise, I'd say.
Yeah, and I don't think that the two are necessarily diametrically opposed.
No,
right?
no, 100%.
Because Sabre, we're a technology company, but we also have account management.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of the things that we're doing in the data and analytics space is, speeding up, making the higher quality data, but it still takes the people to glean the insights from that data and provide that value to their customers, right?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if life was an algorithm, but, we're having to navigate things where it's not. So some of the stuff we're doing is reactive, like COVID's situation, NDC's situation. You can't sort of I don't know if you can you program around that? I don't know. But there's a lot of things that we need to react to. But then from an optimization standpoint, again, you're searching into someone's business where you kind of need humans at this point. I think, anyway.
I think so too, and I think, in terms of where will account management be in 5 years' time, depends where the industry is in 5 years' time, and that talks really specifically as to why you require account management, because the industry is constantly changing. I mean, Scott just pulled out a couple of really great examples there of where our customers need us to help navigate them through some really fundamental choppy waters of what's going on in the industry and how it impacts the ecosystem that they've built for their travel programs. Well, I haven't found an algorithm that can do that right now. So that's where account management can really add value to this and help be that industry expert for our customers. So, we're about helping a customer find the solution to the problems and the challenges within their program. So that is largely dependent on what happens in the industry and is dependent on us having the knowledge and the expertise to be able to help navigate them through that.
And you mentioned strategy, and Scott mentioned consulting. So where does the consulting piece of the business fit into this, and how is it different from account management?
Well, they partner. So, your account manager is your day-to-day consultative support for a program. So if there is something that requires a certain subject matter expertise or focused resource for a project or a period, then consulting will come in and help work with account management and with the customer to provide that. So, consulting is typically project driven, whereas account management is program driven. But the two work very closely together. They collaborate. I look after account management and consulting. So, those two things come together very closely linked, and they share the same discipline. It's all around understanding the need and helping the customer navigate to reach their goals.
Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do agree we're sort of coming to this middle point where you've got, in AI, you sort of talk about the human in the loop, where it passes in between but I think we have to be careful not to just assume that what has been will be, because technology moves very fast or very slow, and then it moves very fast. So we're not on hoverboards, but suddenly we will be on hoverboards, and then we'll be in flying cars, and then everything, that stuff takes forever.
I can't wait. Sorry to interrupt on the hoverboard thing. I know that's not but what technology's done is redefine what a hoverboard is. They exist, you can buy them. It's a wheel. It's not hovering at all.
That's right. Doesn't have a wheel at all.
Sorry,
I still want that jetpack to work, right?
I think what it's sort of saying was, like, AI has been around for decades. It's always this coming. But if you look at what's happened in the last 6 months, it's been the exponential curve has just taken off. And so it is one of those things that if we're not thinking ahead and saying what in the day-to-day job is repetitive, redundant, could be automated out, if we're just sort of assuming that that's going to keep going, I think we will be in trouble. And so I think in 5 years, you're already seeing these sort of co-pilots. So developers will use a co-pilot in GitHub that they're writing code, and this thing's looking over their shoulder and checking and correcting their code and making it better. Microsoft just integrated some of this into their Office suite. So I'm typing and it's correcting my typing, and it's anticipating and guessing what I'm going to say next. So I can see a world where you've got this sort of co-pilot that's just increasing the leverage and the capabilities of an individual. And maybe it's not changing or taking your job, it's taking your job description. It's changing what you do.
And it's not that we don't use technology. So if I think of consulting, ACIQ is the bespoke product that we've built in consulting to help customers manage their air contracts and how effective they are and what value they're delivering. So using ACIQ now can do in under 5 minutes what it would have taken a whole team of people, hours and hours and hours of work that people would have paid for to do using multiple different data sources. Using that technology, it automates that process.
Right.
Customer can tap into it and see it for themselves, or they can work with a consultant that can help them interpret the data. Because insight for me is around information beyond the obvious. So using technology, it gives them the information, but what is that telling us? And sometimes when you're looking at things strategically, you need that expert to help guide you and navigate you on that journey.
Adding the value to
Correct.
that whatever that has been automated.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great. Any final thoughts?
I think just going back to the choice thing, I know in our, some of our, collateral and approach to how we win business, we sort of talk about this omni-channel experience kind of thing. So I think the definition is an interesting topic as well, because if we think, technology, sometimes people will jump to that means an online booking tool or something like that. And it's that's not the case at all. There's this whole, persona base and how you can, leverage technology to have a better end-to-end process across the whole thing. And even when it's a booking via email, there's certain things you can do to help, speed up the SLA and all that sort of stuff. So it's not just this or just that. It's definitely a blended kind of approach.
And I wonder how a customer can identify what are the best data points that helps them on that journey. Oh, I know. The account manager can help them with that. Don't hit me.
No, but there's definitely it's about appetite as well. Some customers I would prefer, like, we do have self-service reporting, for example, and I'm always trying to say, you know, jump in, it's there, we'll help you do training, blah, 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 and they're like, I know, but I need you to, you know, help me with that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, over time, for sure, that will evolve into more people being more comfortable, you know, self-servicing, and the product will improve so it's more intuitive, and that's probably the gap right now, right? Like, what's the best user experience? Sometimes it's person, when it's technology, cool, because then we can add value elsewhere and get deeper into other things, I think.
It's so true, and Daniel called it that the issue isn't that there's not enough information, there's too much information. So, you know, very often a customer can get analysis paralysis, and if you spent any time in the Power BI suite, you know, you can go down any number of rabbit holes that give you loads of information. So, you know, a customer will say, what do I care about? What do I need to look at? Where should I focus? And that's where you can really add value in account management.
I think the sort of cost of intelligence has almost gone to zero, like with AI and the ability to ingest the world's information and sort of anticipate and bring this up. So like intelligence is now abundant through technology, but so that's become free, but the cost of, or the value of intellect and like interpretation and nuance and sort of like that has increased. So I think that now we have all the information, we have something that can help us filter and sort it, and then we can really understand it and put it in the right context. But I think because it's been sort of a 2-on-1 debate here, I'd like to bring in someone on my side to sort of, you know, wrap it up for me.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, Daniel. It was looking like you needed some help against these two. I am Daniel's AI-generated avatar, albeit with a slightly inferior South African accent. Although my text and image are generated by artificial intelligence, Daniel wrote the ChatGPT prompt and edited and refined the output to collaboratively create me. As much as technology has revolutionized account management, complex situations with a lot of nuance require the expertise and creativity of a human being to navigate effectively. The human touch is essential in these scenarios since it allows for better interpretation of emotional intelligence, non-verbal cues, and empathy. Machines can provide data-driven insights and help automate mundane tasks, but they cannot match the creativity and intuition of human beings. In summary, machines can handle mundane tasks, analyze data in real time, and provide insights that can help businesses make better decisions, while humans can provide the emotional intelligence necessary to navigate complex situations effectively. The collaboration between humans and technology can lead to increased accuracy, speed, and personalization, which ultimately leads to improved overall efficiency and customer satisfaction. So don't worry, Joe and Scott, I'm here to help, not take your jobs.
What was that thing pointing over his shoulder? Was that a laser?
It was a helpful machine. my budget for stock video was so we were looking for a helpful computer.
He's very charming.
Yeah. If he wants a job in sales.
That's right. Very charming. Well, thank you, Daniel, Joe,
Thank you.
Scott.
Thank you so
Great
much.
fun. And we are a wrap. So thanks very much for joining us.